How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Today we're looking at 5 different companies that I'm going to keep an eye on this week, and I think you should too because there might be some good buying opportunities. These are 5 companies that I'm really bullish on over the long term, and I think that they'll do quite well just in the next 3 to 5 to 10 years. It's always hard to tell exactly what a company is going to do in the short term, but if you can get in on a company when it has dipped a little bit because of earnings, and that's what we're looking at today, all 5 of these companies are announcing earnings this week. It can be quite lucrative if you can get in at a good buying price. So before we get into it, if you guys don't mind hitting the like button, it really helps out the channel. It's right down there. And then also, if you do want to start investing, you can use the links down below. There's one to WeBull where you can get 2 free stocks, one worth up to $1,400 as long as you deposit $100 or more. So if you haven't done that already, I'd really suggest it. I really like the app in general. And then also there's a link down there to M1 Finance where you can get started with your investing journey for long-term dividend investing, and that really is my favorite brokerage, so check that out too if you haven't done that already. So let's get right into it here. So there are a ton of huge companies that are announcing earnings this week. As you can see here, on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you have just some of the largest companies in the world announcing earnings. You have McDonald's, you have eBay, Starbucks, Visa, General Electric, Spotify, Facebook, PayPal, Qualcomm, and just so on. It just keeps going, and it's kind of a who's who of who is announcing earnings this week. So the first company that I'm going to keep an eye on is 3M. So this is a company that has done quite well over the last 4, 5, 6 months. As you can see here, it dropped down, but quickly bounced back up because it was announced that they were making masks and that they were making some other products that would be kind of recession-proof. If we look here, it was a company that was highest more in 2018, up to about $260 a share. But this is just a great company that pays great dividends. If we look here, they slowly increase revenue. They're not a massive growth stock. They're not looking to 2x their revenue in the next 5 years. Most likely will just continue to grow slowly. If we look at their net income, it's right around 4.5 to 5.5 billion. But if we go down here, we can take a look at their dividends per share. They're up to $5.76. Their payout ratio is getting a little bit high at 73%, but it's still within the manageable category, and they've just continued to increase this over the years. And this is just one of those stable companies that has so many different income streams. You can see here that they've continued to grow their dividend for 61 years, and they've grown it over the last 5 years at a rate of about 11% a year. They're paying almost 4% now. So if they dip a little bit on earnings, let's say they don't reach the expectations everyone had set because they thought they're going to do really well in this environment compared to other companies, and they dip a little bit, that might be a great buying opportunity where you can get a dividend yield up around 4%. And it's a company that I'm looking at buying. The next company is Facebook. So if you've been following the channel for a while, you know Facebook's one of my favorite stocks. They have been just continuously growing. They dropped down through March, but then they had a nice recovery and are at all-time highs. So they are a company that just has continued to grow in users, in amount that they can make off each user. They continue to get into new markets and continue to monetize different apps. So they own WhatsApp, they own Instagram, they own Facebook, and they're just a company that I think is almost too big to fail. I hate saying that, but other companies have tried to beat out Facebook and had tried to overcome Facebook, like Snapchat, and they just haven't been able to do it. Facebook is so ingrained in our culture, with Facebook being big for the older generations a lot of the time, and then also with Instagram being really big for people, 30 and under, maybe 40 and under. It's just continuing to be a massive powerhouse, and they're just set up so well so far that it's going to be hard to beat them. I mean, just looking at their revenues, they're continuously increasing them by 25 to 35% each year. Their net income has increased massively. They don't pay any dividends right now, but they have just a massive amount of money on their balance sheet too. They have a really good position compared to some other companies, and really the whole tech space has really good positions for cash right now. Their total cash is about $60 billion. And this is just one of my favorite companies to hold. I think it will continue to increase. There's so much potential still in Facebook stock that I'm really excited, and I'd like to pick up more if I can during this week if their price drops. The next stock is Qualcomm. So this is a 5G stock. This is a semiconductor company, and it's one that I haven't talked about too much, but it is one that I hold in one of my portfolios. And it's just one that I think over the next 5 to 10 years is going to do so well. Qualcomm makes a lot of the chips for 5G phones, and they introduced some news today that's quite interesting. Their Quick Charge 5 says they can charge a phone in 5 minutes up to 50%. So that is really interesting. It's just something that came out, again, like I said, just today. And if they can actually produce that at a large scale, and that really does what it says it can do, that will be huge for the company. I don't think any other company, I've read through a couple of these articles, I don't think any other company can do that really reliably right now. So that will be really interesting. I think a lot of people are willing to pay for that. So that's something to look forward to. And just looking at their income statement here, their revenues have stayed about the same over the last 5 years. Their net income has kind of floated around about $5 billion down to negative $5 billion and back up to $4 billion. And they do pay a nice dividend of about $2.48. So that is something that you can look forward to also if you are buying into this company. I think that they'll continue to grow as 5G becomes more prevalent, and they're going to be able to make a lot of money from that. The next stock that I want to look at and pay attention to is Apple. So this is just a massive company that has just destroyed their old share price. So they're at about $320 before the lockdown, and they went down about 30%, but they have just done incredible since then, going back up so that they've beat their old share price by 13%. It just looks like a little blip on their radar here for a couple months, and then they were back up to their old prices and have just totally destroyed them. It's the largest market cap in the US at $1.6 trillion. Their 5-year chart is just awesome to look at. I mean, it was below $100, and now it is up around almost $400. This is a company that just I think will continue to do well, and I think that there is some opportunity here because I could see them not doing as well as people think, or not doing that well in general compared to what they've done in the past, because a lot of people have kind of held on to their money, and a lot of people haven't been out and about, so maybe they haven't bought as many iPhones, maybe they haven't bought as much of their other technology. I could be totally wrong, but that is just something that I could see happening, and it's just a really stable company to hold. They've increased from about $233 billion to $260 billion in revenue. Their net income has pretty much stayed the same over the last 5 years, but their prices just continue to go up. If you can buy when they have dipped a little bit, I think it's a great opportunity. The next stock is Google. So Google is just another giant here. As you can see, they've just continuously done well over the last 5 years, and they're just so massive. They have so many different parts of their company that it's hard to wrap your head around what they do even. I mean, they have so many different products, but they're big into cloud services. They are big into search engines, obviously, because of Google.com. They own YouTube, which is expanding and has done quite well, I think, throughout the lockdown. A lot of people have turned to YouTube to get their content and to get some information or news or just find some entertainment, because a lot of these companies haven't been able to produce content like they used to. So YouTube has done quite well, and I'm sure that they've gained some market share compared to some streaming services. And just looking at their income statement here, they've been able to continuously increase this by about 15 to 20% each year in revenue. Their net income has also increased. It's about doubled in the last 5 years. They also have a massive cash position like a lot of these other tech giants. So They are in a really good position to do well into the future. I think that they're going to continue to outperform the general market. And I know it's hard to see that because they are so massive, right? So they have $117 billion in cash. But I understand it's hard to see some of these companies outperforming the market because of the fact that they're so big already. But that's what everyone thinks almost every year. And they continuously do well, right? So Amazon has done quite well over the last 10 years. Google has done quite well. Apple has done quite well. And these are some of the companies that were really large companies 5 years ago still. This isn't an all-inclusive list. There are tons of stocks that aren't on this list, but I want to keep it short. These are really the 5 companies that I'm watching because I'd like to buy more of these companies. But let me know what you guys think below. What companies are you watching? I'd love to hear and kind of bounce ideas off each other. And if you do want to join the Patreon, we are talking about investments regularly on that. So if you do want to do that, you can use the link down below and take a look. There are a couple different options, but you get access to our Discord server, and I answer pretty much every question on there. Some of the other people that are in the Discord too are really helpful with that too. So let me know if you have any questions on that. But otherwise, thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.